Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. People would get away with murder if we let them. And that's why laws are written, to prevent people from heinous acts of crime, hold people accountable. Otherwise, there'd be total mayhem and destruction in the world without law and order. Now, how laws are made is by getting petitions, getting people to sign petitions, and bringing it to your legislators. And if enough people sign the petition and advocate for a new law to be in the books, then those legislators will get that law to change. Now, I don't know the exact process. I'm not coming on here, claiming to know about how the government is run and how laws are made. I know they taught me that in school. Remember that that Saturday morning cartoon about how a bill is made? I forget the name of it. It had like a kind of rhyming song so kids could catch on, I forget that, but I know some of you will know what I'm talking about. Anyway, in order to get a law in the books, something that isn't, allowed now, like, for instance, gay people now can get married. Before, gay people couldn't get married. But enough people, petitioned for it, advocated for it, and changed the law that now men can marry men and women can marry women. Before, that was not allowed. The same sex could not marry each other. Now, the same sex can. Now, how does that happen? By people signing petitions and bringing it to their state legislature. I am a victim of a horrendous sex exploitation. I had been it's called statutory rape. I've been raped by my psychologist for 2 years, and 2 other psychologists backed him up and supported him. So they were accessories of the crime. It's just like, if someone had robbed a bank and 2 people are waiting out, one person is looking out on the street, watching to see if, anyone's coming, and the other person has the getaway car. So those 2 people, the one watching out, for the person robbing the bank and the one in the getaway car, they're accessories to that crime. So even though I only had sex with Dr. James Barbaria, Dr. Richard Geis from Harvard, and Dr. Jeffrey Forking from Yale were accessories. They both saw us together in session. They just didn't know about Jim. They saw Jim in the flesh, in person. He came and took over my sessions. That was supposed to be for me. He came in with his problems and took over my sessions. So they were accessories to the crime. They aided and abetted it. Now, what I'm trying to get changed is I'm trying to make this a felony, punishable by prison. Having sex with a patient, and also making other professional psychologists who are accessories to the fact, aiding and abetting, making them being able to be punished too, because they were accessories. They also were involved in the Criminal Statutory Rape Act. Now, in I don't know how many states, so don't quote me, it changes. It is a felony. It is punishable by law. And in some states, psychologists not only lose their license, but they go to prison for years for having sex with a patient. I want you to read and sign the petition. That's what this whole video is about. I want you to realize that even though I'm an adult, even though I agreed to the sexual relationship, I wasn't, forced, thrown down on a bed and trying to fight back and say no, no. Even though I was agreeing to it, I could never, ever give consent. It took me years and reading a lot of literature and also other people telling me this to believe that it is not in love, it is not a relationship. You cannot give consent even though you think you're in a relationship, even though you think you're in love, even though you think you can give consent and you are giving consent, even though you think you're two equals. So I'm just as responsible as him. That's not the case. That never can be the case. Just like if you have sex, and if an adult over 18 has sex with a 14-year-old, that's statutory rape, even if the 14-year-old came on to the 20-year-old, right? Even if that person came on to them, and initiated it, it's still statutory rape. And they still can go to prison with having sex with a minor. Now, a patient and a doctor, a patient is the same exact situation where a patient is a vulnerable person coming in to get, like going to your GP or, a doctor, for your physical health, right? It's the same thing. Except it's for your mental health. So, and the doctor is the one with all the years of school. They have a doctorate degree, all the years of training, and they've been trained. And they signed a Hippocratic oath, do no harm. And they know that they're not supposed to ever have sex with a patient or a former patient. If they have sex with a former patient, they have to wait 2 years with 24 months with no contact at all, no phone calls, no emails, no messages, nothing. They have to wait 2 years with zero contact, and even then they're held responsible if something goes, if the patient, because there's some people who believe once a patient, always a patient. So even then, they're held responsible. They can be held responsible. But if they don't wait 2 years, if they end the treatment to have sex, that is still, they can lose their license. It's called a boundary violation. And sex is never allowed in therapy. Sex has no place in therapy. Once sex comes into the picture, the therapy is gone. It's completely gone. And the patient can never give consent. I know I've talked about this thousands of times, and I know people are probably, fed up with hearing it from me. But it's my life's mission because it ruined my life. It ruined my life and my family's life. So it's my life's mission to get the law changed. Now, I thought I was the only one trying this, right? To make this a felony act, having sex with your patient, because there can be no consent. So I started Googling, and because I was writing a LinkedIn article, and then I saw this petition. It came up. So, I clicked it on Google, and it was a petition that someone already else had in place, and it looked like it's 3/4 the way there. In other words, there isn't much more people that need to sign it before it's completely, meets the data or whatever the requirements for people signing it before it goes to the state legislation, and they can change the laws, making it a felony for psychologists to have sex with their patients, punishable by jail, of course. Right now, like in Massachusetts, they'll lose their license. That's it. They can't practice. And I think they can reapply for license, too, after a few years. So I don't know how long they lose their license. Get my drift? They might only lose it for a few years, and then they can reapply. And, I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But if all you do is lose your license, You can still call yourself a life coach and get money. You just can't charge insurance, you see. That's how they get around the law, you know. And that's what Jim was going to do, Dr. James Barberia. He told me he was going to be a life coach. That's what he was going to do if he lost his license, but he died before he lost his license. So he died a saint. He died, you know, with his license intact, and no one knows any better. All his patients think he's great. So I found this petition and I signed it, and then I put the link to it on my LinkedIn article, which I have. I have a newsletter on LinkedIn about unethical psychology, and I write these articles, and then there's 2,700 people who have subscribed to my newsletter on LinkedIn, and I wrote about it, the petition, and I put the link to it so people to the petition so people can sign it for themselves to change the law. So I want to hold these psychologists that have sex and take advantage of vulnerable people, I want to hold them accountable. And also the ones that support them, I want to hold them accountable, like the Dr. Richard Geis and Dr. Jeffrey Fortgain, who supported Dr. James Barberia, who tried to talk me out of reporting him, who didn't report him themselves. As professionals, they knew what he was doing was against the ethical code. They knew he was hurting me physically, sexually. They knew what he was doing was wrong, was a therapy violation, and they still supported it, and they still encouraged it. So they should be held accountable too. So I want to get this message out. I want to change the law, but I need your help. I can't do it alone. I can't change the law alone, right? And that's why this petition was already out there. In fact, you can make your own petition. On this website, you know, there are already tons and tons of petitions for various things that they want changed. They want laws changed. They either want the law changed or they want a new law on the books that, you know, will enforce something like, you know, we want a law on the book that says that sex with a patient is a felony, it's a crime punishable by jail. That's a law that isn't on the books in every state. It is in some states. I think it is in California, but it isn't in this state that I live in, Massachusetts. And I want to change that. Now, there's already a petition out there for it. If there wasn't, I could start my own petition, because you can start your own petition on this website. But there was already one out there, and it looked like, you know, a lot of people have already signed it. And a lot of people, you know, click it. I'm going to give you the link below this video. So go on there and click it and read people's stories. Hundreds of people have been harmed by psychologists taking advantage of them. I'm not the only one. I'm one of many. That's why this petition is out there. And that's why I need your help. So I'm pleading with you, please. Please, you don't have to donate money. They ask you if you want to donate money, but you don't have to, you know, you don't have to. I think what it is you either donate money or you sign 10 other petitions. So you can go on there and sign 10 petitions that, you know, you believe in, and along with this one, and that's okay. I think it's either or. Either you donate money or sign 10 petitions, and that's how you get in. You get your vote counted. So I went on there and I looked at other petitions that I believed in, and I signed them along with the one saying about making patient sex a felony. And I didn't have to give, you know, any money at all. I don't believe in those ones that they require you to give money in order to get your voice across. And this one isn't like that. You can either give money or you can sign 10 other petitions. And there's so many good petitions out there that I'm sure that if you look at them, that you will, you know, be interested in trying to help their cause as well as my cause too. So I'm gonna try to, you know, promote this. I'm going to, you know, put it all over my social medias, my Twitter, my Facebook, my YouTube. Of course, this is for YouTube, making this video. But this YouTube video is I'm going to put it out to the masses and try to, you know, plead with you, please. Let's change the law. Let's look out for vulnerable people, you know, who, you know, are not, you know, they're very, you know, I was in a really bad state when I went to therapy. That's why I was in therapy in the first place. I was looking to get help. And what did I get? I turned into an alcoholic because I was so severely abused. Not by one, not by two, but by 3 psychologists. Three. Sexually exploiting me. That's a lot. And for years, not like 1 year, you know. This was going on for years. So please, I plead with you, please. Please, for my sake, will you click the link and sign the petition, and let's get these criminals behind bars where they belong.